Welcome back. So we were understanding that when you're talking about proteins, well, proteins are made up of many amino acids, and these many amino acids are then going to be utilized by our body for energy purposes, right? Now, whenever we are talking about all of these things, see, one thing we have to understand is that these amino acids are going to be present only in the proteins, and then there are two sources of proteins. We have the plant source and the animal source. Well, when you talk about animal source, they are called as the first class proteins. Why? Because they are easily digestible by the body and they are utilized in very high amounts. And the proteins which are present in the animals are very high. That is why people who are into protein rich diet, well, they would always go for these meats and the other things. Now, when you talk about these amino acids, well, we have organs and the cells. They will utilize all of the amino acids to produce more proteins in the body. For example, when we are talking about amino acids, well, one such amino acid will come together and form a protein in the skin that is called as melanin, and in the form of hair which is present on the skin. Then we have other kinds of amino acids which will come together and form ocean in the bones, and these proteins in the bones are highly essential. Then we have the proteins of the cell membrane, the enzymes. All the enzymes which are utilized during the times of Krebs cycle, electron transfer chain and glycolysis. And do you remember the F1 particles? Well, the electron transfer chain, the jumping of electrons from complex to complex. Well, yes, those complexes are also made up of proteins which are present inside the cell membrane. We have insulin and trypsin which is being produced by the pancreas. We have various hormones which are also made up of amino acids. Then we have actin and myosin. Well, this actin and myosin is produced in the body, and of course it is a very major form of component of these muscles. Last but not the least, we have hemoglobin and antibodies in the blood. Well, all of these are the forms of amino acids which are utilized by us. Now, when we talk about these amino acids, well, excess of amino acids cannot be kept in the body. And that is why excess of amino acids are broken down in the form of ammonia. So everywhere we have these proteins, they are utilized, they are broken down into amino acids. And if there is an excess of amino acids, well, they are all broken down into ammonia. And this ammonia is then entering into the kidneys and they are eliminated out of the body through urine. Well, sometimes what happens is that if we have excess of proteins in our body and at that time, let us say we have not consumed anything, that means there is no carbohydrate source in the body. So if there's no carbohydrate source in the body, there will be no glucose. And when there is no glucose, do you think glycolysis will occur? Well, of course, no. That is wherein the proteins which are present in your body will now be broken down. And when these proteins are broken down, well, they will get converted into glucose. So these protein molecules, when they are converted into glucose, well, then that procedure is called as gluconeogenesis. Well, the entire reaction in which your proteins are converted into glucose is called as gluconeogenesis. So let's take the word gluconeogenesis and let's try to break it down as gluconeogenesis. Gluco means glucose, neo means what? New. Yes, so neo means new. Perfect. And then we have genesis. Genesis is to generate. So we have gluconeogenesis, new glucose molecule which is generated. Well, that is generated in the body with the help of proteins. Well, plants, do they perform the same process? Yes, they do. So plants take in minerals from the soil and then they take all these minerals into the leaves, and inside the leaves they convert these minerals into amino acids by a process called as the de novo synthesis. And now let's move on to another form of energy, and that is lipids. See, 1 gram of proteins and 1 gram of carbohydrate fetches us 4 kilocalories of energy. At the same time, when we are talking about lipids, well, these lipids are made up of fatty acids and alcohol. So when fatty acids and alcohol, both of them combine, they give a specific chemical reaction, and of course a specific chemical bond is formed between them, and that is going to be called as the lipid. And all of these are the sources of lipids. Now, for example, when we talk about molecules like phospholipids, well, this phospholipid is a major form of your cell membrane. So each and every kind of a cell in our body is going to have a cell membrane, and the cell membrane is made up of lipids. One form of lipid called as a phospholipid. Again, there will be a question. Why is it called as phospholipid? It's because it has this structure. So it has this lipid structure at the bottom. Can you see this? And then can you see this head over here? Well, this head is made up of phosphate. So phosphate plus lipid giving you phospholipid, and this phospholipid is a major part of the plasma membrane. Well, when we talk about fatty acids, well, these fatty acids, all the lipids, they will get converted into cholesterol, and this cholesterol is a major precursor or the major subunit for the formation of hormones. And when you talk about hormones, well, there are three major forms of hormones which are being produced. The female hormone, progesterone, estrogen, which is made from the fatty acids. You have the male hormone, testosterone, and the hormone aldosterone, which is produced by these fatty acids, which get converted into cholesterol, and then this cholesterol forms these hormones. Not forgetting our entire neuron. Well, this neuron has these axons, and around the axons, can you see these yellow color? Yes, so this yellow colored layer is also called as the layer of myelin sheath, and this myelin sheath is made up of lipids. Now, lipid is the one which gives us maximum amount of energy. 1 gram of lipid gives us 9 kilocalories of energy, but the only problem with it is that when we are talking about lipids, we tend to intake a lot, and a lot of lipids then get accumulated or stored in the adipose connective tissues in the body. And when it gets accumulated in the adipose connective tissues of the body, then the person tends to get obese. Moving further, we have another kind of a vitamin or another kind of a nutrient, that's vitamin. And then there are major 6 classes of vitamins which are essential chemical compounds for the body. Let's see, they are of 6 classes, and that's wherein they are required for smooth functioning of the body. And the major 6 classes are vitamin A, B, C, D, E, and K, out of which A, D, E, K are fat soluble, and then we have B and C, which is water soluble. Now, excess of A, D, E, K will go and get situated in the adipose tissues because that's where fats are. So the fats will dissolve all of these and keep them there, but you have B and C which will be thrown out of the body even though in excess. See, vitamins should be in great numbers, I agree, because they are required for proper functioning, but at the same time, they should not ever go in excess quantities. They should always remain in perfect quantities. Well, when they are less, we need to take them, but we should make sure that we are not taking much, because all of the vitamins which are fat soluble, they get stored in the adipose tissue, which can create an issue. Well, that's not the case with vitamin B and C, because even though if they are in excess, because they are water soluble, they get dissolved in water and then they are thrown out of the body through urination. We have another major form of a nutrient, and that's water. Well, not forgetting, our body approximately has 65 to 70% water. And when you talk about blood, well, blood itself is 90% water. Every cell has 70% water of its weight. And when you talk about water, well, if there is a deficiency in water, then the entire balance of the body, that is functioning of the tissues, functioning of the body, will be disturbed. And we will not know what to do. And that is wherein we get dehydrated. And this dehydration, if not treated, can lead to serious issues. Then we have another nutrient also called as the fiber. Now the sources of fiber are leafy vegetables, fruits, cereals. Well, they all have fibers, and these fibers are important nutrients, though they are not digested by the body. Well, when we are talking about these fibers, when they are eaten, well, they get converted into small thread-like structures, and these are fibers. Well, they are not digested by the bodies, but they are required for the digestion of other nutrients. For example, when you're talking about the entire stomach, well, when it digests the food, fiber is not digested, and this fiber, as it is, enters into the large intestine. In the large intestine, it will go and it will digest the other food molecules and convert them into waste product, that's feces. And then it is going to provide roughage so that these feces can easily come out without constipation. Well, that is the function of the fiber. Well, that is the function of the fibers. Now, one thing we need to understand is that energy, we get maximum energy from carbohydrates, because that is a source which is easily available and we take it in every day. Every meal is what we take carbohydrates in. But sometimes when our body is fasting, when we have not had anything and we require continuous energy at that point of time, these carbohydrates are not available. That is wherein your proteins will break down into amino acids, your fats will break down into fatty acids. Now these proteins and fats will not undergo the process of glycolysis to give you energy, but rather they will undergo another process of breakdown, and they will directly form acetyl coenzyme A. And when they form acetyl coenzyme A, they will then enter into the mitochondria and start Krebs cycle to give you energy. So it's just that glycolysis is specific for glucose, whereas if you talk about proteins and fats, they are also sources of energy, but they will not perform glycolysis. They would rather undergo the process of Krebs cycle by getting converted into acetyl coenzyme A.